In Chester County, Pennsylvania, 20 miles west of Philadelphia, lies a stretch of forest that is said to harbor a dark secret of America's industrial past. According to locals, this area is the site of a mass grave, the final resting place of dozens of Irish immigrants who mysteriously perished in the 1830s, and whose deaths were suspiciously covered up by authorities.
So these stories go back a long time. What evidence do we have of a mass grave site?
Well, for years it was just folklore, not knowing whether there was any substance to the legend.
As a local Irishman, Bill was always interested in this story, but in 2002, his fascination took a very personal turn when he and his brother came across a stash of long-lost documents.
This is the Pennsylvania Railroad file on the story of the mass grave here.
I see this?
Yes, absolutely. My grandfather worked for the man who assembled this.
The papers tell of the construction of one of the country's oldest commercial railroads, the 82-mile Philadelphia and Columbia line. In 1832, a contractor named Philip Duffy set out to construct mile 59 of the line. The area's hilly terrain made it one of the railroad's toughest stretches. To build what came to be known as Duffy's Cut, he hired dozens of laborers right off the docks. They were among the tens of thousands of Irish immigrants who arrived that year, desperate to escape the destitute conditions in their native land. But within weeks of reaching their new home, it's said that the laborers all died during a cholera outbreak that swept through their camp. Legend has it, their bodies were then dumped into a mass grave near mile 59. Yet strangely, even though the confidential company files reveal that 57 workers at Duffy's Cut died, newspapers at the time reported the total number of deceased was only 8. Internal company reports claim that cholera killed them all. But physical anthropologist Janet Monge suspects there's a more disturbing explanation.
One of the skulls shows a very distinct hole. We found metal fragments inside of the skull, so we do know that it was a bullet hole. Absolutely. And this is actually probably an axe wound.
Janet sees compelling evidence that they were inflicted while the victims were still alive.
After the person was dead, this would have shattered the skull. But no, this just broke the skull like you would break a living tissue. The real sort of powerful bit of data is that all of the individuals that we excavated have blunt force trauma or actually bullet-based trauma.